How did Kylo Ren end up with Vader's burnt helmet? Especially because Luke was alone when he burned Vader's body. Now, we know Luke didn't go back for the helmet, because that isn't how Luke would want to remember his father. He would have let that helmet turn to ash. If Luke wanted the helmet at all, he would have kept it before starting the fire. He wouldn't risk getting burnt going back for it. Who would risk getting burnt for that helmet? So, here's the theory. At the end of Return of the Jedi, Luke sets Vader's body on fire and stands mournfully watching him burn. The fireworks erupt overhead and Luke turns to rejoin Han and Leia at the Ewok celebration. As Luke walks off, Vader's body continues to burn. Once Luke is out of sight, the body slowly leans up, stands, and walks out of the fire, seemingly unaffected by the blaze around him. Make no mistake, Vader is dead. This is something else. At first, I really didn't like this theory. I want to believe Vader is completely done in this story, and in a way he is. But once you think about how Kylo could have possibly ended up with Vader's helmet, knowing where it was when we last saw it, nothing else makes more sense. There are really two scenarios that make any kind of sense. Either someone was secretly watching Luke burn the body and grabbed the helmet after Luke left. Seriously, why would anybody do that? Or much more likely, somehow some dark force took over Vader's body and he walked out of the flames himself, taking the partially charred helmet with him. By now you've seen the comparisons of the scars on Vader's head with the scars on Snoke's head. Now, if you're familiar with those god-awful prequels at all, you know about Darth Plagueis. I firmly believe that Palpatine had successfully killed his master Darth Plagueis in his sleep, as Palpatine inferred. But seeing as how Plagueis had the power to keep people from dying, it's not such a stretch to think that Plagueis managed to bring himself back. Only he may have waited several decades until Vader had successfully killed his backstabbing apprentice, leaving a void in power. It's also very likely that Plagueis, having the power to create life, had indirectly created Anakin to one day get revenge against Palpatine. Now, with Vader also dead, the spirit of Plagueis took over the now empty body of Vader to assume power under the guise of Snoke. I don't get why people don't love this theory. It ties a perfect bow around the entire Star Wars saga, and even makes those prequels a little less terrible, if only just a little. Snoke could have spoke to young Ben Solo through the Force, pretending to be Darth Vader, his grandfather, and swayed him to the dark side. I know that seems strange, but how many times did Luke hear Obi-Wan's voice without seeing his physical apparition? It's not that far-fetched. Even if Snoke couldn't perfectly impersonate Vader's voice, Ben Solo had never even heard his grandfather speak. All of Anakin's old acquaintances were dead, many of Vader's acquaintances were also dead, thanks to the many Death Star explosions. Only Luke knew Vader's true voice outside of the suit, and if the voice was only inside Ben's head, he would have no reason or ability to question its authenticity or cross-reference that it was fake. It's possible Snoke even spoke through a voice modulator similar to the one Kylo Ren eventually uses to better convince young Ben that he was Vader. I'm not exactly sure when Kylo would have been introduced to Snoke, but I could see Snoke pretending to be Vader and recommending Kylo seek out a wise man named Snoke, who would continue his training in the dark side of the Force. So he recommends himself, and then he personally gives Kylo the helmet of Vader, which he says will allow him to be closer to Vader's spirit or something. Maybe even have more direct contact with him, like a way of making calls and not just receiving them, perhaps. Who knows? But it would explain what Kylo meant when he says to Vader's charred helmet, "Show me again the power of the darkness. Show me, grandfather, and I will finish what you started." Show me again? Again? Kylo is admitting that in some way it was Vader that brought him to the dark side. Although last we saw Vader, in Return of the Jedi, we know he is essentially alive and well in the form of a blue Force ghost. I don't see him attaining that level of good only to revert back. It's much more likely that someone was impersonating him. What do you think of this theory? Is it simple enough for Disney to expect a mainstream audience to accept and understand it? Let me know in the comments below, and hit me up on Twitter at Planet Calvin. Let me know what you think. I'm really interested. I want to know if this is just complete hogwash, or if you like this theory, you think they might actually do it. be sure to subscribe for more content like this, and thanks for watching.